We throw around words like good, justice, and charity all the time, and we pretty much assume we're all on the same page. But what if we're not? What if the moral language we speak today is just a shadow of what it used to mean? And you'd think we're all speaking the same language, right? But the history behind these words tells a totally different story. When you say charity, you probably think of a voluntary act of kindness. But in a different framework, that very same act isn't optional at all. It's an absolute duty to go out and restore justice in the world. See the difference? So think of this explainer as a kind of archaeological dig. We're going to journey back in time to find the original blueprints for our moral vocabulary. We're heading to two ancient worlds, ancient Greece and the world of the Hebrew Bible, that gave us the very words we still use to navigate our lives. All right, so our first stop is ancient Greece. Now, for the Greeks, the big moral question wasn't about following a list of rules from on high. Nope. As the sources tell us, they were obsessed with something far more personal. How do you live a truly excellent life? And at the heart of it all was this one powerful idea, arete. This wasn't about checking off boxes of good deeds. It was a lifelong project, to cultivate your character, to become the best, most excellent human being you could possibly be. For thinkers like Socrates, it was simple. To know what is good is to be good. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. The entire Greek ethical project was about the person, the agent. The goal was to be a good person. A lot of our modern morality, though, focuses on the action itself. We judge whether a specific deed is right or wrong based on a set of rules, often without even considering the character of the person doing it. And this whole massive shift might have just started with one little translation. When the Roman philosopher Cicero went to translate the Greek word ethos, which means character, he picked the Latin word moralis, but that word is tied to moris, which means customs and habits. And just like that, the focus subtly shifted from your inner soul to whether you were following the social rules. Okay, so now let's jump to a totally different moral universe. In the world of ancient Hebrew thought, morality wasn't some philosophical project for self-improvement. It was built on something much, much bigger, an unshakable foundation of divine obligation. The whole system is built around this idea of Brit, or the covenant. The sources say it was kind of like those ancient treaties, between a powerful king and his people. It meant ethics wasn't a choice. It was a set of binding duties you had as part of a sacred relationship. This wasn't about becoming your best self. It was about fulfilling your obligations to God and everyone around you. And check out how this totally flips our understanding of a simple word. For us, charity is nice, it's optional. But the Hebrew word is tzedakah. And that word comes from the root for tzedek, which means justice. So giving to the poor wasn't just a nice thing to do. It was an act of restoring justice, of giving someone what they were rightfully owed. It was a non-negotiable obligation. And this wasn't just an abstract idea. It had huge, real-world consequences, especially in the law. I mean, if you compare Mosaic law to other codes, like Hammurabi's, the difference is just staggering. In Babylon, if you stole from a temple, they could put you to death. Under Hebrew law, no way. No crime against property was ever a death penalty offense. Why? Simple. It's because of this one single foundational belief, B'Tselem Elohim. The idea that every single person, no matter their rank or status, is created in the image of God. That's the engine of the whole system. It means every life has infinite worth, which is why saving a life is so important it overrides almost every other rule. So, okay, we've got two completely different moral universes, right? The Greek world of character, the Hebrew world of obligation. So why? What makes them so profoundly different? Well, the answer might be hiding in plain sight, in the very structure of the language itself. To really get this, you have to hear one of the most incredible stories in all of linguistics, the revival of Hebrew. I mean, for nearly 2,000 years, it was a language for prayer and books, but nobody spoke it at home. Then, this unbelievable effort brought it back from the brink, making it the only language ever to be literally resurrected from extinction. The historian Cecil Roth put it perfectly. This thing was basically a miracle, and the driving force behind it was this deep belief that language isn't just a tool for talking about the world, it actually builds the world we see. So here's where it gets really wild.
Thanks to fMRI brain scans, we can actually see how different languages work in our heads. When an English speaker reads, their brain kind of builds the word in a straight line, piece by piece. It sees then relate, then did. It's like stacking Legos, one after the other.
But a Hebrew speaker's brain, it does something totally different. The sources tell us it instantly zeroes in on the word's three-letter root, the shorish. And that one root acts like a key that unlocks a whole network of connected ideas. So one word can light up this huge web of concepts about justice and charity and righteousness all at once. Our language literally seems to wire our brains to think in different moral patterns.
So, what have we seen here? These words we use, justice, virtue, charity, they're not just simple labels. They're like these ancient artifacts, They're carrying the ghosts of Greek character, the weight of Hebrew obligation, and even the deep wiring of our brains. And knowing all this lets us start asking some really powerful questions again. We can ask, what if morality is less about following rules and more about becoming a person of excellent character? What if we saw our duties to each other not as choices, but as binding promises? And what if helping people isn't just charity, but it's the work of justice, something demanded by the infinite value we see in every single person? So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. If our moral language today is an incomplete, maybe even a flawed translation of these powerful ancient ideas, what else have we lost? What other vital, incredible moral concepts are out there just waiting for us to rediscover them, if only we could find the right words?